Welcome to SPARC Cast, another episode of our podcast for our SPARC networking group here in Las Vegas. We come to you from the lovely WeWork in Town Square. And today I'm here with Guy Dawson. Thanks, Guy. Thanks for showing up today.
Thanks so much for having me on, Joe.
For sure. You're one of my BC friends.
BC?
BC, before COVID. We actually know you from prior to COVID, from networking in the city. I got here a little bit before COVID. So you're one of those members that are part of SPARC that I've known for that long now already. So that's great. It's good to have you on
I can remember we were in a networking organization and I used to see you around town pre-COVID. Yeah, you're right. It's almost like a completely different era of time.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody brought up the once a month events that were thrown at Hearthstone. Remember that place? And I remember that was one of the big events prior to COVID. But anyway, thanks for showing up today. Thanks for coming in here to help us produce SPARC Cast. And so tell me, what drew you to SPARC?
What drew me to SPARC is we have a mutual friend named Carl DeMeilig. Just a great guy who I didn't know for a long time prior to SPARC, but his spirit and his belief in what SPARC was going to become. And I said, you know what, Carl, I'll give it a try. I've been networking in this town since 2008. So lots of different experiences. But when he talked about what SPARC, the mission was and what the organization wanted to accomplish, you find people and you trust their judgment. That's what I found when it comes to things like networking, is when you trust a person's judgment about where a group is going to go. I pursue things like that. So that's what drew me. And I'm always looking for opportunities to meet new people, right? I mean, that's what the whole networking environment is about. Sure.
And Carl is one of our co-founders. We hope to have him on at some point soon. So what is your category at SPARC?
My category is the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce.
Great. And tell us a little bit about that.
We are a 501c6 nonprofit organization that brings businesses and nonprofit organizations together to create synergistic relationships that benefit the community.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's businesses with heart, right? Basically is kind of like the mission there. I know Carl's a member as well, or he at least frequents the gatherings you guys have.
Oh yeah,
right?
Carl's chairman of the board. He's one of the early believers as well in the mission when we actually launched the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce in 2019. And so that was the first event I think that he came to. And he's been around during the development. And like you mentioned, we're AC after COVID now.
Right. And what type of businesses or people are you looking for in that group?
I mean, we're looking at businesses that are open-minded enough, Joe, to see that partnering with nonprofit organizations, at least for a business owner or a professional, is a strategy that is effective on a lot of levels. When you look at the biggest companies in the world, they have divisions that are specifically committed to cause marketing. Giving back to the community as a part of their business model. And there's a reason why they do that. Of course, the reason should be that you genuinely want to contribute to something that you're passionate about or that you believe in. I mean, if you don't start from that space, I think you kind of get off track. And that's part of the education that we give as a Chamber of Commerce, is that you don't just jump in and do cause marketing just to do it, that you genuinely have that interest. So these big companies, yes, they have an interest in something, and then they also know that the publicity that they're going to get as a result of their alignment with nonprofit organization, it's something that can be extremely beneficial for the reputation of their business and their bottom line even.
Yeah, and that's where SPARC, its mission aligns with yours, right? SPARC is really about bringing people together, business owners or people representing businesses, to create synergistic relationships. And what we typically see, as you know, in all the groups that we have, is that when somebody comes in and they put their giving hat on first, that's typically when they succeed. And obviously that takes time to build trust. But if they come from a position of giving, that's where they have the most success. And that's, I've taken that into my own personal business where, you know, I'm a realtor, lender, solar. We do all these things as part of the business. And if you approach someone with what I can sell you or what, you know, a piece of knowledge in the business, they typically don't care as much until they know how much you care about them and what change are you looking to make in their life and what improvements you're looking to make in their life. So that falls in with SPARC's mission and obviously with your chamber's mission to bring the heart first, right? The caring first. So that's fantastic. And what, I guess the next question I would have is what benefits have you seen as being a part of SPARC to your business and to your group?
It's just the relationships, Joe. You know, business is so much about really your personal brand, right? So that you have your business, whatever service it is that you provide or product that you provide, but that your ability to be able to deliver that to people, to get more and more people to want to engage with you is so much built on your personal brand. And that's the way that people perceive you. And you build that through your reputation, being a part of groups like SPARC and the people that you meet. I mean, we meet a lot of people as a result of being members of SPARC. So it's, like you mentioned before, it's not always about immediate business in your hands where people are signing up for whatever it is that you have to offer. Everyone who walks through the doors of SPARC don't just jump in and join the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce. Right. But the value that I've gotten is just the relationships that I've created along the way. And it doesn't always, like I mentioned, immediately translate into the your bottom line. Sure. But it does translate into your bottom line because now you've got a friend that you didn't have before. I mean, I have people that have come and visited SPARC and never become members at all. And we've cultivated relationships that are really beneficial for both of us just as a result. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate about an organization like SPARC. And it's that it creates an environment where people can give to one another and create success. I'm a huge advocate for a small business person or the professional. You know, we're the ones out here trying to make it. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy being a small business owner or a professional.
I invite people who don't have businesses to SPARC as well, because they could then build trust with these business owners, and now they know who to trust. They know who to call when they have an issue. They know who to call when they want to make a purchase for something specific. And I think it's just a fantastic way to vet the business prior to your need, and then also not just going through Google and looking at reviews, which is great, but on a more personal note, right? And because you have so much history networking and with networking groups, do you mind telling me what you think sets SPARC apart?
What I think sets SPARC apart is it's the heart, as you mentioned before, and really the commitment. Sylvia, you, Davin, Carl, the ones who got this off the ground. I mean, you guys you come from that spirit of giving that you talked about. That I just so resonate a minute ago when you were talking about giving as it pertains to networking, because so much of that can get lost in the networking community. And you know, you've attended a lot of events. Sure. Not everybody comes there with the spirit of giving. And if I could just have one wish, maybe when it comes to working with networkers, after having been out here a long time and seen a lot of businesses come and go, and having been a part of the economic meltdown back in, I mean, that's when I got out into the networking community. And it was the givers who came out on the other side of that, from my experience. And so just the culture of SPARC comes from that space. You already started talking about it when you were talking about giving. And you guys, all the leadership of SPARC exemplifies that. And so again, for me, that resonates with me because I know for a fact that that's what makes a person successful long-term in the networking game. You guys have created a culture of giving, and you truly want to see the business owners, we all do, but I'm specifically talking about the people that built it and started it. It's a mindset of truly wanting to see others succeed. And I really always feel that when I'm in the environment of SPARC.
Great. You mentioned the word wish. I have another question that starts with a W as well. What's your why? Why do you do what you do? Why did you start you started the Cause Marketing Chamber, right?
Uh-huh.
So what was the thought process behind that and the why prior to it being formed?
We started hosting events, specifically the Businesses with Heart event in 2015. And it was actually an intern that was working with our company at the time. And I was just sitting around one day and we were trying to figure out how to drum up some business. And she had said a phrase, which I had never heard before. She says, Guy, you ought to put on a cause marketing event and invite your friends in business to participate in it. And I had never, to be honest with you, heard the word cause marketing before 2015.
And did she just make it up, or she had heard of that word before?
Yeah, she was writing a book about it, actually.
Oh, wow.
So she was really engaged, and there was a nonprofit that she was helping to develop at the time called Hearts Alive Village, this animal rescue center here that's really gone on to be super successful. But I had been doing it in philanthropy, built my business. Back in 2008, as I mentioned before, when I started the business, my traditional business that I'm a part of, I was doing philanthropic things because it was really tough to get business at that time. Those were very challenging economic times. So I did lots of pro bono work for nonprofits back 2008, 2009, 2010, managing all different types of things for businesses. And so that really set the stage for me even being in business to get to the point where I got to have that conversation with her in 2015. And so the philanthropy it's just been something that's been important to me throughout my life. I come from a very philanthropic background. My father was a really big giver like that. My mother wasn't so much in a traditional sense into philanthropy, but she's just a very empathetic person. So when the time came and we started hosting these events, and I was really surprised at the success of the first Businesses with Heart event that we did in 2015, I said, well, I think we're really on to something. And for the next 4 years, we just kept hosting those events. And we would get together about every 6 months, throw a party, lots of networking, education about causes, and then we'd go away. And then in late 2018, we all kind of sat around, those of us who had really become the tribe of the organization, and we said, hey, why don't we create something maybe a little bit more sustainable? Something where we can become a resource for businesses and nonprofit organizations to come together so that they both will be more successful. So that was my why, and still is my why, Joe, is that, I'm just like you guys are. I'm all about wanting, I know my success comes from helping others. Zig Ziglar's statement that he talks about, helping other people get what they want helps you get what you want. And I have found that to be absolutely true in all aspects of life.
Yeah, the why to me has become more and more important recently because I've been reading a lot of books and watching videos about visualization, right? And it's so hard to visualize something if there's no why behind it, right? Just to visualize a nice house or the business you want or the car you want or the relationship you want, whatever it might be, but if there's no why behind it, it's really hard to put that fuel, that steam behind that, right? Carl actually gave me a book recently about the heir to the Baskin-Robbins fortune, and he totally threw that away and went his other route because he didn't want to continue perpetuating feeding people sugar and like from the nutritional aspect of it. And he went a totally different route and started to do his own business. It's something that I got to start reading soon, but yeah, that's fantastic. And that why I just wanted to hear from you because of your mission and because of the company, what you've brought to SPARC. In regard to SPARC itself, we talk about power partners a lot, right? What other businesses would you like to see brought into SPARC, or what changes would you like to see in SPARC? Is there anything that you have seen, considering your background, considering the time you spent in networking, of ways to improve SPARC, or even just for you, the power partners that you might want to bring in?
Yeah, I think a power partner for me, Joe, is not so much industry specific as someone who really understands the principles, or is willing to learn about the principles of cause marketing, and how there are so many worthy nonprofit organizations and causes out there that do tremendous work for the community. So, and they need volunteers, they need connections, right? It's just like the networking community for us, Joe. We provide services for one another. We point people in the right direction to get things done. I mean, we're really good at that. And the nonprofit world needs the same thing. The power partners for me are not necessarily industry specific, but they are about, people that are willing to just get out here and test just to see. I mean, I could tell you so many stories in my own personal life and in people that I've worked with through the years when it comes to the cause marketing, how beneficial it can be to your bottom line and in so many ways in life. But as far as how SPARC can function better, business success is always, it's a never-ending growth spurt or a never-ending pursuit of excellence. And I just think that just a continued pursuit of excellence, which is looking for different ways to create a better member experience. I mean, that's
like this maybe?
Absolutely. I talked about it before we came on the air today.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta constantly, that's all I do in my, with the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce, is we want our members to feel satisfied.
Sure.
It's a very satisfying thing just to be in the environment of what we do, because you're helping kids and you're helping all different types of people, veterans, and I mean, there's so many different causes out there. So there's that inborn sense of fulfillment that you get just being a member of our organization. But at the same time, hey, if we can put you in front of someone who wants to do business with you or can become a power partner of yours and your bottom line increases, that's very fulfilling for us as well. So I would just say the continued pursuit of excellence. And that's another piece of my why, Joe, is I'm always in the pursuit of excellence, not perfection.
Sure.
There's a big difference between perfection. Although when you hit it, when you nail it, that's a gratifying experience. It just doesn't happen in my journey in life. It doesn't happen that you nail it perfectly all that often, but it's just constantly chasing after the fact that it could happen. And that mentality is what I'm a big believer in.
I think that's fantastic too, because if your mindset is perfection all the time, you're going to be down on yourself, right? You're going to be down on yourself, and to keep a business running, to keep that spirit going, you have to be willing to take the hits in the way where it's, if you don't get the result you want, but also it's a constant pursuit of that excellence, right? That success, right? In a way where the more, and the struggle is what defines you, right? If you can choose to struggle and make progress and to put the effort in a little bit every day, I think that's where you'll see the results over time. It's not that home run all the time, right? And because of that continual success, and sometimes it even requires doing something you don't want to do. I asked a question today on Facebook, and it was funny. I got no responses and no likes, which is rare for like just a regular simple post. I said, so what's the one thing right now that you're not doing that would make you feel really accomplished? And then I put, how would that improve your life? And then what's stopping you? Not a single like or comment. And to me, that just shows that, it's a little like nobody wants to put that out there right away because it's embarrassing. You obviously know, it could be embarrassing. You know that it's something that you should be doing that you're not doing. And I actually wrote on my calendar recently, do one thing per day that either you haven't done before or that you don't want to do, right? Because if you do that at the beginning of your day and get it out of the way, then the rest of your day kind of becomes easy. So I was at a group yesterday for biohacking. Right? So like new ways to feel better, perform better, all this stuff at this place called OsteoStrong. It's a workout that they use resistance training, but without free weights so that you can push really hard, pull really hard, and it's supposed to increase bone density, especially for the elderly population, right? But the stronger your bones are, the stronger your muscles can be, right? So I was there and I met this guy and he has a cold plunge spa. So he offered a free session to go down there. So I'm going to try that, because if let's say you had one in your backyard or you had one in your house, if you could do that every day consistently, the rest of the day is going to be pretty easy, right? Because I don't think anybody wants to get up out of bed, a warm bed, and go jump into that pool. So that's something that I'm trying to commit to coming up soon. So I've committed to that I'm trying to get to doing sometime soon.
You got to be willing to work on your weaknesses,
sure,
Joe. And so that's when it comes to growth. Part of growth is, like you said, people might not want to admit that we all have areas of weakness. It's just, you're a human, but your willingness to work on that, to improve it. You can't ignore your weaknesses, in my opinion. I know that there's a sort of a mindset out there about, oh, well, if you're weak at something, bring someone else in to cover. Well, yes, I agree with that. That's bringing someone in to help you is something that you would want to do if you have a weakness, but that doesn't mean that you just drop it off in somebody else's hands. Weaknesses need to be dealt with, in my opinion.
Sure.
Weaknesses can be absolutely turned into strengths. I do believe that.
I think you can outsource, or you can bring somebody in to handle it if it's not something that is going to affect how you do business, right, your part of your business.
Exactly.
And then the customer experience. If it's paperwork or something that needs to be done in the back end, that's fine. But if you're weak in a personality aspect or communication, like Toastmasters is something that's part of your story, right? Mm-hmm. You used to go to Toastmasters.
I've been a member of Toastmasters for 16 years.
And that's something that could improve someone's communication skills and allow them to be a better communicator for the people that they meet. Things like that, that's personal, I agree. You got to work on them because you want to be well-rounded. And that's, again, part of what SPARC has brought to my life is being able to deal with people in different walks of life, from different places, with different businesses, because we do get a lot of personalities in the rooms, right? So it's been fantastic. And frankly, I owe my career, my business, my success to these networking groups, specifically SPARC, since I was here. Because when I moved here, I didn't know anyone, right? So cause marketing. Do you have any events coming up that you want to share?
We do. We have our quarterly mixer, which is on July the 16th, 2024, and that is going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's at the Market Grill Cafe, which is a wonderful restaurant out on Durango. And when we do these quarterly mixers, we have a featured nonprofit organization. And the featured nonprofit for the one that's coming up on July the 16th is called Whalers Creation. And they're doing a lot for kids in foster care. They help kids who are in foster care to transition into adult life. So a lot of people, I know I didn't think very much about it. I mean, I know there's lots of kids in foster care, but I never really thought much about what happens to a kid who's been in foster care maybe all their lives, and then they turn 18. What do you do? Well, that's a very difficult transition for a lot of kids.
Sure.
So Whalers Creation helps kids and young people from 14 to 24 in that transition from being in the foster care system into adult life, to develop all different types of adult-oriented skills. So great nonprofit organization. Again, not one of these big brands that everyone knows about, but they're providing a service that is so beneficial for the community. And so, that mixer is all about featuring that nonprofit, as well as getting business people together to network, and we're looking forward to that. We've got these cruises, we've got our first annual
I was going to ask, I wasn't going to let you forget about that.
We're going to the Hawaiian Islands from October 19th through the 26th. We pulled it together. It was really
that's amazing.
We've never done anything like this before, but we were able to get a group of people who want to go over to Hawaii, and we're going to go cruise through 7 Hawaiian islands. We're going to do some service work on Maui. We're going to just talk about how to build this cause marketing community. And we have huge goals of what we want to do with this organization. And when you get together like we do at SPARC, that's where that synergy comes in, Joe. Everybody bringing their talents, and that's what the chamber is all about. It was a vision that was brought to me, but it's we Cross Marketing Chamber of Commerce is just about the community and us all coming together. So that's what these events are all about. We've got our big expo coming up on September the 19th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Businesses with Heart, our once a year expo. We're on our 11th event.
Fantastic.
That's going to be at the Santa Fe Hotel and Casino, and that's going to be a celebration of civic organizations. And we've got a lot of wonderful civic organizations that people hear about but don't know much about, such as Rotary Club, Kiwanis, Toastmasters, Lions Club. A lot of people have heard about these organizations but don't really know what they do. And at this event that we're going to host, we're going to celebrate them by allowing them to present. And lots of business owners, lots of food, good times. Yeah, we got a lot on our plate. We were even in the process of developing our own networking group for the chamber. It's going to be called Cause Connections.
Oh,
it's
nice.
going to be an online networking event that brings the nonprofit and for-profit worlds together, purely online. And so, yeah, we're just big things in the works. But SPARC, like you mentioned, Joe, SPARC's had a lot to do with my success.
Thank you.
And things that I've been able to accomplish, again, because I just understand that it's not always about the sale. When you approach networking from the perspective of what can I bring to the table, you end up creating great relationships like you and I have and so many of the other members of SPARC.
Fantastic. And thank you for mentioning the events you have coming up. I just want to mention before we forget that SPARC is hosted here at WeWork in Town Square. We have a chapter that meets Monday nights at 5:30, and then a chapter at 10:30 in the morning. Around 10 o'clock to 10:30 is a good time to show up on Tuesday morning. So if anybody wants to come out, experience SPARC firsthand, meet some of us, please do so. Guy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time and everything you shared. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me by. Go SPARC, go.
Thank you.